Welcome to the Joe Cohen Show. Join me as I share my experience with biohacking and invite top health experts to explore the latest technology, supplements, research, and resources for optimizing your body and brain.
Yeah, so 40 years of Zen was terrific. I learned a lot.
So you really liked it?
I liked it. I really think that Joe Dispenza's got it nailed infinitely better.
Oh, interesting.
Infinitely better. Oh, like
And
I did.
but the thing is that can you get that value from just getting an audio of Joe Dispenza or whatever, right?
You got to sit in a room with 2,000 people, Joe, doing the same thing you're doing. So on the one hand, it's very public, but on the other, it's very discreet. Like you're in the room and you're meditating 10 hours a day. And it's like doing a half marathon every day. It's a lot of work. You're doing a lot of breathing
And it's
exercises
with,
to get
does it
to-
help it that it's with so many other people?
Yeah, it does. It's the energy of 2,000 people in this kind of coherent environment. And it's, I don't have the science to explain it, but something really intense happens in that environment. Like I need more
Because
time.
the amount of people, is that what it is?
I think that's key to achieving the results. I think that's really key. And you're well aware that there's a communal event going on in people's heads that are connecting you. And that's what I'm saying. It's like the bowl
I
that
feel like
I'm drinking the bowl that I'm drinking my miso broth out of, I would say makes a difference in terms of what it is that I'm consuming. I can't give you any evidence why, right? But there's something in the bowl that's makes it unique in terms of when it's delivering for me. I would say that the same thing holds true for these kind of massive events. I did S. I'm just going to go off a little for a moment. I did S in 1975, 76, January 1976. I was 25 years old. Right. So Werner Erhard had just hit the human potential movement and pretty much kicked it off in a very powerful way. So here I am. I'm a kid in a room with 300 people, and it was a 2-week affair, right? And he wasn't calling it meditation back then. He was calling it go into your space, right? So you would close your eyes, go into your space, do full body visualization. A lot of shit would happen. So I've had experience with this before, and I was around Werner and the S universe before it became landmark for about a decade. I was a guest seminar leader. I got a lot of people to do it, all that kind of shit. But a lot of it, I can see now the evolution of like where it was at 40 years ago and now how Dispenza is pretty much commodified meditation in this manner.
out of all the meditation stuff, you like Joe Dispenza the best?
I hate listening to his voice. Like if I'm doing meditations at home, it's okay, sit up. It's energy. And I'm like, I gotta listen to this meditation. But I'm so in relationship with the work that I get over that quickly. I think that there are much more appealing voices in terms of the kind of meditation that I like. I love listening to Sam Harris. You know, his voice is very, okay, close your eyes. And he's got his 10-minute meditations, 20-minute. But if you go to his app to Waking Up, he's got some remarkable thinkers in the arenas of human consciousness and meditation, mindfulness. So typically what I'll do is I'll cherry pick through there too. And he's got also series. He's got a series on sleep, on being in the moment, on affluence, all this kind of stuff. And the people that he's picked to actually do the meditations are fascinating. He had Tori Santos on, who's a psychologist and a leading thinker on the science of happiness. So she teaches a course at Princeton where I think it's the highest attended course ever over the last several years in Princeton. 1 out of 4 students do it, all on the nature of happiness. So I listened to the interview when it first came up with him and her. I was completely taken by her. And so I went online to, I forget which, maybe it's Masterclass that offered the course online with it for $50. And I was just like completely blown away by her thinking on the subject matter. Right. So I really
Interesting.
like Sam Harris. I like his meditations. Joe Dispenza. I think more people get value out of the meditations at home after you've done a course with him.
So
So
what are the things that what are your goals when you're doing meditation? What are you trying to accomplish from it?
I'm really well aware that my default mode is a big problem. I can talk myself into any kind of plight conceivable to human beings. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. You're really going to go down that rabbit hole? So, yeah. So, and since I've been in the human potential community long enough, and like I said, almost 40 years of being in and out of workshops and courses. I've been very fortunate in that regard. But what I'm interested in, to your point, is shutting down the default mode.
But there's
I'll
got to
get
be a
really long.
reason. What are the reasons? So you're talking about the default mode network. I'm sure mine is screwed as well. I've got a bit of a monkey brain. When
Oh
everybody's
yeah.
like sitting down to meditate, I open my eyes sneakily, just look around, what's going on. So definitely, but I guess the question is, what are the ultimate aims, right? So your default mode network, yeah. What
Sure.
are you trying to improve?
I would say equanimity, a very even mind, not so prone to the things that would make me anxious. Trick. I'm looking to clear out a lot of my trauma triggers, and I've been very successful at it. But it also began doing psychedelics a bit more differently now in my when I was in my late 60s and so on, as opposed to when I was a crazy hippie kid. So I started doing ketamine,
Kevin's great.
clinical ketamine with Glenn Brooks, who's an anesthesiologist here in New York downtown. And I don't know what it was. Maybe it was 2016. I read this phenomenal study on ketamine with soldiers coming back from Iraq and Afghanistan and how fucked up they were and all this kind of shit and how successful the treatments were. So I pinned down Glenn because he was mentioned in this particular study. He had a contract. I don't know that he still does with the Department of Defense. So they were just sending him a lot of these really screwed up soldiers and running them through ketamine treatments. I signed up and I did it. It was just unbelievable. So
Nice,
that
nice.
got me thinking again, maybe what I need to do is practice meditation a bit more and see if I can get what I'm looking for that route rather than having to be that reliant on psychedelics and ketamine. So with mindfulness meditation, you're also finding that after all this time, you're much more present to events. I'm much faster to catch my reactive ways of being. And if you listen to the latest episode with Michael Sherman, he's got Robert Sapolsky on, and it is beyond belief. Sapolsky, one of the great thinkers in terms of human consciousness, he's a psychologist and primatologist. His conclusion is that there's no free will at all. And he just wrote a book called Determinism, where he argues for it in ways that are breathtaking. So the interview with Sherman about the fact that there is no free will, his contention is that knowing that is very liberating and understanding that whatever you and I do is pretty much context driven, our history, our genetics, what we eat, whether we were beat up or not, how we were social. And I can't recommend that enough, Joe, that particular interview. I've been a big fan of Sapolsky for years. I think he wrote a book decades ago. It was my first introduction to his work called Why Zebras Don't Get Stressed or some shit like that. It was a terrific book on the whole concept of stress within the animal kingdom and within ourselves. So I'm really I'm looking to meditation also to get off the hedonic treadmill that you can just get on in New York, anywhere, right? This is how crazy it is. When I was in the hospital dying from COVID, right? I literally was on my phone in the hospital, right? Trying to answer clients' emails and text messages. My staff is telling me, put your phone away. You need to heal right now. It's okay. Business will be there when you get back. But that's how crazy and mechanistic we can be. And I just had a perfect example. Here I am in the house. I'm going, but why are you trying to answer like these questions about whatever with this particular client when you're dying? What's that about? So it's so ingrained in us in large measure. I think meditation in the long run has helped me dislodge from that. So I don't worry half as much as I used to.
Very
And a lot of
interesting.
that's
So
all.
yeah, a lot of it's from what?
I would say that there's the genetics of it too, right? And
So you're a
you know,
worrier genetically, you're saying.
oh yeah,
I
and
think
both my parents were just, but it drive you crazy. Like they were wonderful, both were intellectuals, and both anxious wreckage. And you're a little kid looking at them, and you're like, oh, so like you will do, and certainly in gene sequences that then get turned on favorably, that kind of epigenetic environment, right?
interesting. Yeah. So I guess when I always had anxiety from a young age, I guess maybe it was like 13, as far as I can remember. And there were different periods, right? I guess as time went on, I was counteracting it more. Okay. Through me, a lot of it initially was through inflammation. So inflammation is going to activate the nervous system and then it's going to make you more physiologically anxious. So a lot of it
That's
was from
correct.
that. And then going forward, starting a business, being an entrepreneur, just living life, you have a lot of challenges and there's adversities and whether it's
Right.
social, whatever, right? This kind of family, personal, right? There's all kinds of, everyone always has their issues. And then, as an entrepreneur, there's those issues as well.
Sure.
So I found that when there was too much stress put my way, I would get emotionally unstable. So
Okay.
I would get more irritable, just more irritable. It wasn't so much anxiety, it was more of an irritability issue and mainly from
Totally get it.
triggers,
Yeah.
right? And then there was still also sometimes you would get triggered so much and then you would get like this micro trauma.
Correct.
That the micro trauma is when you got triggered and then you're basically like for a day, you're just like off your game, right? You're thinking
Completely.
about it, you're in a loop, right? You're in that loop. When you get in the loop, that's a micro trauma. Right?
Terrible.
It's like you can't, you should stop thinking about it, but you can't. You're just pissed. Like, how could
Correct.
that person do that to me? What I found, and so I got into meditation a while ago, and my initial adventures weren't that successful. I think I probably didn't do it as well.
By
So,
the way,
like,
let me,
yeah,
I just want to add something to that. Then keep going. I was awful. In fact, that I had a couple of years where I just couldn't do it. Like I think 2018, 2019, and I'll elaborate on that. I just couldn't stand it. No matter what the fuck I would do to try and do it, I couldn't access what I was able to at one point. And I actually was studying with Jamie Will and Stephen Kotler when they had put together the Flow Genome Project, and I burnt out three muses trying to use that to meditate. And typically I'd be wiped out after I would use it. It was like, fuck this. I'm just not built for this. So go ahead.
yeah, yeah. So I would just say that I guess I wasn't good at meditation. And unless you really, I feel
Exactly.
like
Yeah.
unless you're really in the zone and then you're able to do it very well and you get the right ones for you. It's something that I'd like to explore more for sure, but I ended up being able to fix my issues just with supplements. When you're looking at mood, there's different aspects of mood. And when I was looking at my genetics, there was a few things related to serotonin that popped up, in particular the tryptophan
Okay.
hydroxylase 2 gene. But in general, I'm someone who took everything on the market. But a lot of times what I find is even when you experiment, sometimes you don't know how to experiment. Meaning, if I take 5-HTP in a situation where I'm not anxious, I probably won't feel anything,
There you
right?
go.
And
Right.
and same with tryptophan. And the other thing is that even if I take 5-HTP and is a micro trauma, it's too late already. 5-HTP is not going to help at that
You
point.
got it.
Yeah. Or tryptophan, right? Basically, I didn't experiment with it in the right way. Or if you have inflammation, it's also serotonin is there's weird things that happen with serotonin when you also have
Yes.
inflammation. And for some reason they don't go well together. So I tried it out in a few different circumstances, but then I was basically like, okay, there's this gene here. It's coming up in my self-decode reports. Let me retry it again. And at that point, it was also like, I would also take it on and off though, right? That was another thing that
Okay.
I take a lot of things on and off. And then, and I didn't know exactly, like, basically, I wasn't focusing on my mood until one day I just said, wait a second, I know so much about mood. I'm helping other people with mood. And
Correct.
I've tried everything out. And there were many times for long periods where I was great. And so I knew that, and then I was doing different things, but I was just like not focused on it. And then I just realized, wait a second, I shouldn't tolerate like a bad mood for a day. Forget about it. I'm fixing this issue, really drilling down and then seeing, and then coming out. And my goal was to never have a bad mood any day.
But beautiful.
Yeah. So then I came upon, and so it took me about a week just to like gather my thoughts. I had all the supplements already there, of course. Just like, all right, boom, order a couple more, bam. And I was ready to go. I was like, all right. And I already know brain chemistry. I'm like, okay, so here's what's going on. I already did I did microdosing experiments on like almost every supplement by that point. So I'm like, all right, round two. This is about 2 years ago, or even more, 2.5 years ago. Again, this is COVID, moved to a completely new country, had to learn a new language. So I moved from the US to Israel. And then it was just like big breakup and work stress. It was like all coming down. I was like, all right, it's time to,
Life.
life. Exactly. It's time to really figure this out, because if your mood's not good, it's going to increase your risk for everything else.
Correct.
That's a very important lever. And so I said, okay, so I basically came out that I had lower serotonin based on looking at my genes, based on looking at the different reports, based on understanding my brain chemistry as well. I said, okay, I got lower serotonin. There's a couple things that I already had on hand that I knew worked for me. And so I started to implement that protocol. And within a week or two, I was like, okay, boom. And it took like a month to really solidify it. And then since then, it's just been something like, basically my mood has been fixed since then. And
Okay,
basically, yeah.
but you're also working out, right? Were you fit or
Yes.
not
So
fit?
even when it was actually worse before. And I know
Ooh.
why now. Yes, I know why. There were
Let me
two.
just interrupt you because I want to bounce this back and forth with you for a minute. How I dealt with my moods, my fucked up moods, my irritability, my inclination to fly off the handle, and certainly my anxiety was by becoming a runner. Once I got into running and I got into long distance running and then into racing to marathoning, it was like, holy shit. To this day, I remember the first day that I ran 6 miles in Central Park. This must have been 1978. But I'd already been running for months. I was one of those runners that would smoke a pack of Marlboros a day. And
Oh,
nobody put that shit together, right? You get to the end of the run with your buddies and everybody would light up a Marlboro and go, that was fucking great. Meet you tomorrow morning at 7. But that was a life changer. To this day, I remember doing my first 6 mile run and walking from the park home. And I was in this sublime mood. I was like, holy shit, I've never felt like this before. So that's why I wanted to bring that up. Until my injuries were too severe. This is an interesting thing for you to know, that I had to stop running. And curiously enough, that's when the anxiety started to resurface again. Right?
yeah. So I'll explain
Go
why
ahead.
exercise didn't really fix my issues.
Okay.
And by the way, exercise is going to help everybody's mood in a certain way, right? So
Mm.
it's gonna make you feel relaxed. And I found, so I played, let's say, a lot of volleyball. I played it for 4 or 5 hours, 6 hours
Nice.
sometimes. Yeah.
Okay.
And then I would get home. I'd feel very relaxed, of course, but there would be this certain kind of anxiety, and I wasn't sure what it was
Oh,
from. Yeah. And there is some stuff in the literature that shows that exercise could actually increase anxiety for some people. And
that's
there's two aspects to that. There's a couple actually. One is oxidative stress. So if you're just loading your body with oxidative stress, that causes
correct.
then glutamate to be overactive. It also causes higher turnover of serotonin.
That's correct. Very true.
Yeah. So
In
that means you're
fact,
burning through a lot more serotonin.
yep.
And
In fact,
yeah.
no, go ahead. Oh, I just, yeah,
O okay. And then you have tryptophan, which for me, I have a lot of muscle and even naturally, and I use up a ton of tryptophan.
okay.
And so tryptophan actually is very good for muscle growth. And if you're working out a lot, you're gonna use up tryptophan. So the tryptophan is needed for serotonin, and then I have enzymes that don't convert it as well. And so what you end
Okay.
up getting, yeah. And again, how much of that has an influence is hard to say, but it's definitely not as it doesn't convert it as well. And it ends up going a lot more to the kynurenine pathway for me.
Interesting.
And so what ends up happening is I'm just lower on serotonin. I burn through the serotonin, and the real easy fix is just to either take tryptophan, 5-HTP. I take both, and that fixes the problem completely. So there's
I
no
use, I love 5-HTP. It was a game changer in terms of my sleep formula. So I'll either use the slow release, 100, 200 milligrams, or I'll use a lozenge. There's
mm-mm.
5-HTP lozenges, which dissolve really quickly. But that along with a number of other nutrients like L-serine, PS, if L-serine at bedtime, magnesium threonate.
You take
Um,
L-serine before bed?
yeah, you're out. Well,
L I find that it wakes me up. I can't go to sleep 12 hours of taking L-serine.
oh, L-serine. We started studying this years ago when I was looking at sleep formulas that would work. And I came across, I can't even remember at this point who was looking at the use of serine as an agent that would precipitate latency, like you'd fall asleep quicker and remain asleep longer. But it's been a stable part of my sleep formula now. I don't know, 6 years. And
Wow.
after COVID, I increased it. I also take phosphatidylserine before
How
bed.
much
Um,
L-serine do you take?
I think I take a gram.
Yeah, that I've tried that. Tried up to 4 grams, so between 1 and 4 or 5 grams. It keeps me up. I
Okay,
don't know why. Yeah.
this is interesting. It's almost like I'm a GABA junkie. So
Okay.
whereas serotonin seems to work better for you, I'm using all the different nutrients. I'll microdose Benibut a couple of times a week. I love Picamelon. Picamelon gets you there like that. You're gonna sleep so much
Uh-huh.
better. And
I'm the opposite. Yeah, I'm a serotonin guy, and
exactly.
GABA does not improve my mood. It actually, like, just makes me more it makes me more dull and actually worsens my sleep, I think,
Oh,
because I think
so
I
this would be a curious thing to look at in terms of, is there gene sequences that are yet to be unpacked that would say why one person is more drawn towards GABA as opposed to serotonin or the other way around. But the minute I get my GABA going, I'm really fucking clear. I'm completely unbothered and I sleep a lot better. So Phenibud, I probably use really tiny amounts. I use free-form Phenibud maybe once every 10 days. And then I get good mileage out of that for 3, 4, 5, 6 days. I actually discovered that when I had an office in Russia. You could get Phenibut and Picamelon like right over the counter.
wow.
You know, who
Have
knew,
you ever
right?
tried Linalool?
What is it?
It's a GABA agonist. It's really good.
Linalool.
Linalool.
That's a new
Yeah,
one.
it's a very good one. It's if I was a GABA guy, I would take that. Let's put it that way.
That's a
Nootropics
bit of,
Depot sells it, and that's
oh,
the one
wait a
I've
minute.
tried.
What is it? Is it, what is it?
Linalool is a
Yeah.
chemical that's found in a bunch of different plants.
I
It's
may have
common.
it.
It's found in like essential oils often, but this is standardized for. I don't remember exactly what the standardization is. I think it's 20%,
Oh, I have it.
15%.
I have it from Nootropic
Depot,
Depot.
yeah,
It drops.
15% linalool.
Yeah, I like it a lot. Very sweet. Very nice.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah.
You like
But
how does it compare to the Phenibut?
oh, Phenibut's a rock. You just go from like flat to like mildly euphoric and you could stay
Wow.
there for hours. It's just wonderful.
Is that
You know,
from the GABA or from something else?
It has to be because, yeah, no question about it. And you can overdo it. I have overdone it, and then it's just very unpleasant on the other side. But if you hit
Right.
the sweet spot with Benny Bud, it just puts you in the best mood. In Russia, it was used often to deal with hangovers. Right? So I can't tell how many clients, in fact, that's how I may have found out about it there, that were like, "Oh, the stuff, you can drink all the vodka you want, just take this the next day, no hangover." I'm like, "Really?" But then it was just a great way to mitigate jet lag. And then Picamilon I like because it doesn't give you that euphoria, but it puts you in a very even state.
So the Picamelon is attached to there's some B6. Is that what it is? B6 and
It's a
GABA?
B3. It's
Oh, it's a
the
B3 and
GABA
GABA.
so you're gonna get a mild niacin flush, but the GABA is attached to the niacin molecule because it can push it right through the blood-brain barrier, and it
Okay.
works remarkably well. So you're also getting, interestingly enough, a lot of the kind of relaxing effects from niacin, which I love too. So
Yeah,
niacin,
definitely.
yeah, so niacin I find to be, yeah, it's great for controlling LDL and inflammation, stomach inflammation, and recovery from workouts. But its effect on thinking is terrific
Yeah, I
and
would
sleep
agree.
and moods.
So because I'm not a GABA guy, the Phenibut and Picamelon didn't
But
never
that's not
never
your be
it
no.
never worked for me. No,
See,
my GABA's pretty good. I don't know. I never had, and I feel like there's certain things like whatever my anxieties or like mood instability was, I never had like a certain kind of anxiety that other people had, and I think that's related to the GABA. If you have high
there
enough
you go.
GABA, you're not going to have a certain. They're like different types of anxiety. You know what I'm saying? I think
Fair. Oh,
GABA
of
might be
course.
like phobias or social anxiety, or I don't know. I'm not 100% sure, but like also more, it's going to be more related to sleep for sure.
No
Um,
question about it. No question about it.
You want to hear about the one health hack that is sure to change your life? Okay, here it is. Subscribing to this podcast. 67% of listeners aren't subscribed to the show, so please don't forget to show your support by hitting the subscribe button now. You'll not only be supporting the show, but also investing in yourself and your health journey, all while helping to keep us ad-free.
First couple of times I tried oxytocin was in a lozenge and in the shit. Then we got a clinical form of it that you would do sub-Q, and it would just give you this intense rush, and then you were down. So over the years, we got it down to a couple of companies that make a really good version. The Entropic Source has a really great oxytocin. And then there's a company I think called Micro something. I can actually look that up for you too. But theirs is wonderful, wonderful. You just it comes on, and you're just so in the moment and so clear. And yeah, so that's what I found with Oxy. But this is interesting. One of the things that occurred to me talking with you is I thought for the longest time after I got sick that my vagal nerve got fucked up because my anxiety was just crazy, right? And I got stellate ganglion blocks. I got 4 of them. I bought the Dolphin. I used everything according exactly how you're supposed to do it to get vagal nerve stimulation. I worked with Newcom and was using their little disc and all of it in an attempt to get my my vagal nerve on board so that I wouldn't be none of it worked for me. And I kept thinking, what the fuck? Like stellate ganglion blocks are like
what was your
the
HRV?
oh, horrible. Going off my aura rate, there were days where I was coming in 12. I was like, I'm gonna
Oh my
fucking
god.
die. I'm dying. But nothing in terms of getting my vagal nerve on board was making a difference. But I couldn't put that together in my mind. It was everybody responds to vagal nerve support, don't they? And now I'm of that kind of way of thinking, which is this is different for everybody. I've got clients that have done one stellate ganglion block, and they were like in heaven, complete life change. Never saw them again. So it is. tends to be very unique to the individual. No question about it.
What did you
Like
try? What kind of device?
the Newcom disc, right? Then there's a kind of device that makes you go like deep in. It's called David's Delight or David Pro. I learned about it in 40 years of Zen. So pretty much it's got the goggles, it's got the binaural beats, and then it would give you the clips that would alternate currents. And that was supposed to stimulate your vagal nerve.
That I had that device as well.
Okay, all right. I loved it for quite a long time. I really got really good results with it. But I think there you're right. I think probably it was vagal nerve placebo. Then, there's this device called Dolphin. It's called a Dolphin, and it's set up primarily. It's like high tech acupuncture device, but you can reconfigure it to give you high vagal nerve stimulation. So I use that. Same thing. You clip it here. You do tapping according to what the chart shows. And I never got any mileage, and the device isn't cheap. So I've come to that conclusion that, yeah, it appears to work for some people, maybe most people, but I don't fall into that basket.
So what have you gotten the most mileage from in terms of mood? And let's say I know you mentioned meditation last time. So let's exclude meditation and say
Okay.
what else have you gotten mileage from? 5-HTP was one of them.
5-HTP for sure. Like I said, Picamelon, niacin, Phenibut, running. Curiously enough, reading. Reading can bring my anxiety down very quickly.
Okay.
Right. And it has to be very compelling material. So if I get once I'm in the zone, okay, I'm hooked in and I'm just good reading, I can read for hours and then just come out later and be like, whoa, that was terrific. Like, so again, that may be more unique to my biology. I know there are people that read and get overstimulated, but for me, anyway, I can listen to a book on Audible and it just calms me, down very quickly. Um,
Yeah, I guess when getting into the zone in general, I feel like couldn't help with anxiety.
oh, no question about it. No question
Yeah.
about it. Supplementally,
Have you ever tried, let's
then,
say, P5P? Because that, if you got like GABA
you got to
issues,
take it every night. You got to take it every night. I take it every night. I take 50.
that's especially helpful for GABA.
Yes, it is very
Right.
much. So that goes into the mix too.
Magnesium. Uh,
Magnesium threonate for the pigeonin. Pigeonin I find to be fucking incredible. I love it.
which one?
A pigeonin. It's like a super high concentrate of chamomile,
Oh,
right? And
apigenin. Okay.
yeah, I call it
I
pigeon.
pronounce it apigenin. Apigenin. I don't know what the correct way.
Staff. But so that I absolutely love. The new magnolia extract, magnolia bark, I've always done really well with, but
What
it's
kind
not
of
for people.
extraction?
We use the one biology research, and it's not the strongest one. It's made from japonica, whatever. But there's a new one that's out now, Nootropic Depot, which I just ordered, and I think it's in a sublingual lozenge form. Could be wrong,
Are you
but
you
it's
talking about the tetrahydromagnolol?
yes, yeah. Most of the supplements and products that are on the market that claim to actually help with pain, like PEA, high dosing of turmeric, there's 2 dozen different products in that regard. It's like I drive them. I've gone through them all, and I've got really severe running injuries from
Mm.
all the years of being a lunatic runner. But I'm actually getting an implant in my lower back on Tuesday morning.
Oh wow.
But I waited years to see how well this technology panned out. So what they do is they go in, the electrodes remain permanently. So I'm looking to avoid, and I have been for years, getting lower back surgery.
Okay.
And I've been really good at finding all the ways to kick that can down the road.
Sorry.
And
Yeah.
bless you. And then finally working with a really brilliant back specialist here in New York, affiliated with Mount Sinai and HSS. So it was like, all right, let's do a run. They did a test on me about a month ago with the battery on the outside, but the relief was almost instantaneous because it does two things. It corrects the signaling from the lower back to the brain in terms of pain. but it also reduces inflammation within the area. And when I did the test, I actually got like several weeks afterwards of like relief that I haven't had in years.
Oh, they
So,
do. So
so
they do a pre-test to see if it'll work on you.
correct, correct. And
So they're implanting a chip. They're implanting a chip.
they're implanting a battery. It's like really tiny. It's like the
Okay.
size of a little chip. And I'm like super excited about it. But the same thing I've done, I'm like an expert on pain in that
Okay.
regard, simply from all the fucking injuries I got. And I think there, we don't want to go back and touch it again, but I think mindfulness meditation to some degree, if you really go deep, you get, I noticed that when I did the first dispenser retreat, it was like, oh, I haven't thought about my back in days. It was like really curious,
Mm.
right? But I wouldn't attribute anything long term to that. I just don't think it's going to work out. So I'm using the best of
What about
sports science right now.
what about like supplements? Which supplements do you feel helped your pain the most?
Believe it or not, niacin. I've
Niacin,
gone to the I've gone to the most exotic supplements that are available.
nicotinic acid, or niacinamide, or
No, pure niacin, hardcore
nicotinic
CBD.
acid.
Right, 500 milligrams sublingual. Get the intense flush, and it's
Okay,
like you get a
because it brings
lot
all that
back.
blood flow to the area.
Correct. Anything that increases nitric oxide, so beetroot extracts, arugula, supplementation, citrulline and arginine together, beta
Okay.
alanine, which actually also gives you the kind of tingling effect that you get from niacin. But if I'm using nitric oxide inducers, the effect is also, interestingly enough, it has a great effect on mood. But in terms of controlling pain, I find that's been very successful too.
Okay,
Um,
interesting. What
so,
about
so
PEA?
that's what I told you before. Didn't do anything. And I've gone through tons of it. And interestingly enough, THC also reduces my pain
Oh,
discomfort.
yeah, that's known.
Yeah,
THC, like
very low
that's,
dose.
but even that's pretty known. So
Yeah.
CBD and small amounts of THC.
But remarkable. That
Yeah, yeah.
that as opposed to same thing when I was a teenager, you just smoke weed all day long. I'd be like, this is a much more scientific, mature approach. So I'll
You don't need a
dose
lot
it.
of THC. You need very little
No,
to, yeah.
exactly.
What
So I
does it
make
take?
them
Like
in
one or
at
two micrograms, 1 or 2 milligrams?
1 to 2 milligrams, exactly.
Milligrams, yeah.
And that's enough. And if I want to watch a film on Netflix, or I'll go to 3 or 4 or 5. But it's very different. I don't get wiped out or tired from it. And I'm sure
Because
you
you're
know that
taking the
there's
edible and you're taking a small dose. I had the same thing.
correct,
Took it. Yeah.
correct. And now there's this guy who came out with a book, I don't know, about 2 years ago, on how a whole slew of the cannabinoids improve sports performance. You probably know this. And
Sports
how
performance, I
WADA,
didn't know. I
oh
didn't know
yeah,
that.
WADA's banned, see, as a sports enhancement drug.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
So let me just take a moment. Can we hop
So,
onto IVs? I'll tell you about IV supplementally in terms of the ones that I found work really well too.
okay, yeah, sure. IVs. Which IVs?
There's standard ones that we'll build on. So that's going to have high dose vitamin C, magnesium, and acetylcysteine. We use a licorice extract. There's a licorice extract that I get from Japan. It's called neomenophagen. So we order that in. That goes in there. Folic acid, acetylcarnitine. That's the basic, right? So
Well,
if
but
somebody
all
wants
these things get absorbed reasonably well when you take it internally. So, what's the
the phenomena when it hits your blood in a matter of seconds is unbelievably different. Unbelievably,
seriously? Okay. But how long
right?
does it last for? It makes you feel better for an hour or
You'll get no,
days?
you. So I have
And you're saying that works better than just taking it internally?
different. I take 500 milligrams of acetylcarnitine every day, no matter what. And NAC, I probably
Why do you
take
take 500 milligrams of acetylcarnitine? I
makes me feel
stopped, by
really
the way.
well.
I'll explain why. It makes you feel good?
I feel well, and it's one of the nootropics that I handle. If I use GPC, I'm an anxious wreck. And I've got clients that and friends that absolutely love it. I've gotten clients off of Adderall and Biads by putting them on GPC, they're like, I love this shit. It's terrific. I feel really good on it. I'm like, fuck. But if I take it, it shows up in my biology. Like I just had 3 espresso shots and I'm like, oh my God. Okay.
So I'll tell you why I stopped taking
Sure.
acetylcarnitine. The number one is it actually lowers thyroid hormones. And I read that in the beginning and then I said, okay, whatever. But then when I took it, I actually noticed my thyroid hormones going down in my blood test.
How interesting.
Yeah, yeah. It's known, I mean, there's clinical trials that show it. I read them, I ignored them, and then I saw the results and I'm like, oh, okay, let me lay off. Another is it called gastrointestinal effects. I was farting like crazy. And
Really?
yeah, and then and it occurred when I started it, and then I said, okay, like sometimes you get some gastrointestinal effects, you power through it, it stops. This one never went
Sure.
away.
Okay.
And I was like
It's
hammering it from all sides, like I was taking megadose probiotics in order to get it rid of
Sure.
it. And so it just caused some gastrointestinal effects.
Sure. That's
And
like, I was gonna say that reminds me of I love creatine, monohydrate, and actually there's a new form called, I think it's creatine glycol. And so I get really great results on my frame, get terrific results. But after 2 or 3 days of using 500 milligrams, I get bloated, gassy, and I can't dodge it. It's okay. Just got to go off it again. But I do get the result.
yeah, so the L-carnitine inhibits both T3 and T4 entry into the cell nuclei.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, and it's also blood carnitine, higher levels associated with lower T3, and just my own experience, I got the same effects. There's clinical
That's good to
trials
know. That's really
for,
good to
for
know.
using it for Graves' disease. It's a lower thyroid hormone.
Good point. Good point.
Yeah. But so yeah, besides the thyroid and the gas, there was Mendelian randomization studies that showed higher carnitine causally increases cardiovascular disease.
That's true.
Yeah. I just feel like I knew all this stuff before, but then carnitine also has a lot of benefits that I was trying
Yes.
to get from it. Then also it increases TMAO, not 100%
Yeah.
clear, but you also need the microbiota for that. And then it also seems to increase systolic blood pressure, which,
Well,
yeah,
yeah, go ahead.
that's all.
Sit.
That's all.
Yeah, I'm already coming in with really low blood pressure. That's probably a
Okay.
gift from all the years of running. So I wouldn't
Okay.
notice it there. But again, it's a cautionary point. I'm well aware that with a lot of, that's why I start everybody that I'm working with, whatever supplement it may be, I go to like below recommended doses. I just want to get a test run. Like when they put the electrode test on my back, let's see how you respond. And then carefully, what I do, which has become part of how it is that I work with people, depending on what the client's goal or outcome may be, is rotating. So I want to see how somebody is going to respond, let's say to acetyl, in the short term and in the long term. Now, this is really good data about the thyroid. If
Yeah.
anybody's
But the
coming
thing
in
is
with
that if they take a low dose for the short term, it's unlikely they'll feel anything, both good or bad. So I feel like you want to even start them on a higher dose. But in general, I think the thyroid, the T3 is so important that you got to
critical.
check someone's thyroid first and see what's going on. And unless somebody really has levels of T3 that are in a very good range, I'm very careful about the carnitine now. And yeah, it was just, so I remember telling, oh, you wanted to actually know what was happening with my thyroid experiments.
Yes. But just as a quick aside, everybody is got to do 2 things when they're going to work with us. They got to do self-decode, and I'm going to run the best blood panels I possibly can. And depending on
And you
risk
upload them to
factors,
self-decode, I assume?
the blood, no, I wasn't aware of that.
Oh, yeah. It's a great feature. You upload
Okay.
them,
I think I
and
came
then
across,
the recommendations update based on the blood markers.
see, this is great that you and I have hooked up, because I rely so much on my fucking brain, and anything to speed the process up now, I'll take it. So we can do that
Yeah,
and
so
let my staff.
there's some good updates coming. We're also gonna Your client, so either, by the way, either your staff can upload it, or we have somebody that uploads it and you pay a small fee. Those are the two possibilities. So if your staff uploads it, we have an OCR. And so we try to get as much information that we can from the PDF. LabCorp and Quest work pretty well, but then if it's from different countries or whatever, it's going to work less well. And then, yeah, so we're using that information. And then we're also using, if your client fills out lifestyle like questions, that's
Correct.
also going to be the next update. That's also going to be taken into account. So we look at high lifestyle risk, and these questionnaires are looking at things that your genetics is not seeing. So family history, certain like major risk factors for certain conditions.
I love it.
And yeah, and so you can then, it'll show you for every recommendation that shows up, it's going to show you, and then you'll also be able to, next update, you're also going to be able to fill in symptoms and conditions. You could already pick them, but it's going to be more of a linear questionnaire that
Beautiful.
so then it'll show you, okay, based on the symptoms and conditions that your client is most cares about, right? This recommendation helps with these symptoms and conditions, helps with these labs, helps with these lifestyle risks, and it helps with these genetic risks. So we look at
I,
all these factors.
that's wonderful for most individuals that are working at my level, I think. And certainly functional MDs that are coming in and have a very poor understanding as to how to navigate anything that you and I are talking about. But for me, in terms of making the client experience that much better for them, that winds up being something that I would bring on board soon as we get off today and I talk to Tara and Danielle. How do we incorporate that? But blood work up front is critical. And now we're working with a lab that's able to, and this is all out of pocket, they're able to actually do testing that will grab a lot of neurotransmitter data also, which is terrific. I think they're called Victory, and very impressive lab work that they're doing. Given what you and I are talking about is pretty much about lifestyle. In the end, taking supplements in the way that you and I do, all the practices that you and I are pursuing isn't something that people come to naturally, or for that matter, are necessarily drawn to them. And there may be a lot that they ought to be doing, right? But where do you pull the string at the beginning so that they stay involved? They're getting the results, starting to get results, and they're going, oh, okay, I think I could live this way. I think I could do that. And
Exactly.
alter my dietary practice, whatever it may be, to their favor, right?
Yeah,
And in, in,
100%.
in, in yeah, in the end, everybody has their own subjective description of what it would be, what would happiness be for them. But you and I would agree that if your biology is screwed up at any point, it's going to be very difficult to get land in any kind of definition for happiness. If I'm exhausted, when right after you and I spoke the last time, I hit the road, and this is like the first time that I'm on the road at this intensity after getting COVID. So I've done many excursions away from New York and like that, but here I go, head out to Florida, work in Miami for a few days, head out to Marco Island, do an advanced retreat with Joe Dispenza for 3 days, fly to LA, work in LA for a couple of days, go to Summit in Ojai. I moderate for 3 days out there. I'm not bragging, by the way. I'm like blown away that I actually pulled this off. And it was an audience of no less than 500 participants every single day that I'm moderating, and no Q&A, just directly speaking to the group or the individual that's on the platform with me. One was a neuroscientist, Laura Weinberger, and Matt Cook, who's this incredible MD based out of Northern California. So working with Matt on stage and then fly back to New York, right? And it was like, okay, is there any possibility that I'm going to trigger any post-COVID shit out of this? Yeah, let me just make sure. Let me get my sleep. Let me do what I typically would do in any case and see what happens. So I came out of it unscathed, and I recognized that just from my own experience, that there are additional protocols that I now recognize work really well. I'm talking about supplemental protocols that work really well to ameliorate jet lag, allow you to maintain yourself, even if your sleep is getting really screwed up. And most clients, or I would say that the public at large, Joe, is just unaware. They're going to go for more coffee, more caffeine. And
What's your protocol? What's your 15 time zone protocol? Your jet lag protocol?
I won't eat. So what I'll do is I'll intermittent fast most of the time that I'm on the road. No caffeine, body work, sauna, ice plunges. So wherever I was staying, I wanted to make sure that I knew where the ice room was. And what I would do is like a thief in the night, I'd grab 2 or 3 pillowcases, go to the ice machine, fill them up, drag them back, make sure nobody sees me, throw them in the tub. No,
You
if
gotta have no shame to be like a biohacker.
correct. But you get your dopamine going first thing.
This is Philip being carrying around the ice cubes in the middle of the night.
Like
Do
5,
it.
6 AM in the morning. Like, and when I stayed in Ojai, the hotel had an ice machine that I just kept emptying the damn thing out. I didn't leave any ice for anybody.
I'm like, where's our ice? Where's our ice? It was funny. I was staying at this hotel in Amsterdam, and they had a all you can eat breakfast, and the breakfast was all like shit. There was a lot of unhealthy food. It was
Sure.
like salami, and then there was eggs, scrambled eggs, and I didn't want to eat eggs. Yeah, I'm a little like I've gotten over the allergies, but I still try to. I don't know if there's things that I'm not aware of, so I try to stay away with
Okay.
eggs when possible. But I still eat eggs a lot. If it's
Sure.
in a food, I'll eat it. But I'm not going to just put on unless I'm like trying to counteract the food sensitivities. But any case, so it was basically like. But I also wanted a lot of salt because I was sweating a lot the day before, and I was like, okay, so there was like a lot of smoked salmon. So I said, okay, I'm just gonna take the smoked salmon, and then and so it's in these like cups, and it's all you can eat. So literally, the only thing I ate was these cups of
Smoked
salmon.
salmon.
Yeah, with arugula, whatever was there, and then the waiter comes over. He sees like 10, like 11 of these cups. I stacked them too because whatever. Did you eat these? I'm like, yes, I did. He's like, what? You didn't? There's other people who want as well. I'm like, I didn't realize you guys were limited on how much smoked salmon you have. And then I asked one of the guys, was like, are you guys limited on smoked salmon? He's like, why? I was like, oh, some waiter was screaming at me that I was eating too much smoked salmon. I was like, I didn't realize there was a limit. Because they would just, if you took it, they would just keep coming out and refilling it.
Sure.
Anyway, there wasn't, but this guy was just horrified.
Yeah, same thing. Just to get back to the jet lag thing, I can't believe that when I used to work, when we had our office in Moscow, that it was like a celebration. We would drink on the plane. I just never took that into account. And it was brutal. If you're coming off an airplane, now when I watch people coming off planes that have been drinking, it's like they're swollen. You can see that they're already swollen. They're struggling to get
Yeah,
their
because
shoes on.
flying dehydrates you and drinking is going to dehydrate you even more.
Terribly.
Yeah.
And it seems to alter the hangover experience. Like it makes it worse.
Yeah.
So I would never touch alcohol when I'm traveling.
So when
Like,
one of the things I do when I'm traveling, so I'll buy first of all, they take away all your waters. You got to spill it all out. And then I'll usually buy water or whatever. And then on the plane, I'll usually run out. And then they come around they give you like a small cup. I'm like, no, I show them
terrible.
my massive water bottle. I'm like, can you fill this up, please? They're just like pouring their water for 2 minutes into that bottle.
Critical, but it's critical. Being hydrated, being hyperhydrated makes all the difference in terms of how well you're going to handle the jet lag and time adjustment. But
Interesting.
interestingly enough, for years, what I would use the David take. I'd take maybe some ashwagandha, some bacopa, some theanine. This is when I was like finding my way through. How do I fall asleep on the plane?
Have you taken meclizine?
No, what is it?
Oh, meclizine's a game changer.
Oh, you got me with another good thing here.
Yeah, meclizine, write it down. So
Yep.
I heard about meclizine. There was this researcher that's studying meclizine for longevity, and it's not published yet, but he basically said that that this that mice live longer when taking meclizine. And then I looked into
Okay.
it, why they even started the trial, and it turns out that meclizine is an mTOR inhibitor. So yeah, it's
What?
like rapamycin. Yeah, and now in the animal study, they were given an equivalent of 800 milligrams, which is quite high because normally you're only taking 50. And or is it? Let's see, is it 50 or 25? I bought it so long ago, I don't even remember.
Oh, how interesting.
Yeah, it says 25 to 50 milligrams. Yeah, I guess starting with 25 milligrams. I have to see what mine is. I forgot. I think it was 25 milligrams, let's say. But so it's a lot lower than the 800 milligrams.
Right?
But it's basically, it has a couple mechanisms which knock you out. One is it's an antihistamine.
Correct.
Another, it's an anti-dopamine. So it's an anti-DRD2. And it's
Nice.
also an anti-acetylcholine. So all those
Beautiful.
three things, yeah, all those three things knock you out. And I was exploring, I was thinking about at certain points taking antihistamines, but I don't think they're that healthy. And then hey, this thing extends life. Okay, maybe I'm not taking the proper dosage, but it's an mTOR inhibitor. And I don't take it every night, but it knocks you out. It's very good.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting. I'll use low dose trazodone also.
Okay.
And I've gotten great results with low dose trazodone, like 50
What is
milligrams.
I've done research before on trazodone. Is it, what is the mechanism exactly again?
It's an
That
old school. It's an old school antidepressant.
tricyclic? It's an
Yeah,
MA.
it is tricyclic,
Okay.
and it brings on sleep pretty quickly. Like all of a sudden, you'll wake up 3, 4, 5 hours later. You don't even get it, right? So it's wow. So I've had that response. I'm going to definitely try out meclizone and see how well that works. I'm curious. I'm going to do my own kind of like clinical trial on myself. But trazodone I find to be terrific, and you don't feel anything the next day. No grogginess. I wake up very early, very well rested. I actually,
Oh,
reading,
interesting.
yeah, I got validation from Peter Attia again. In Outlive, he talks about how safe trazodone is for quote unquote the elderly.
Okay.
So that's one thing that's like the cherry on the top of the sundaes. Okay, everything else is working great, but I feel terrific and I can't fall asleep. I'll take out a little bit, maybe 25 milligrams or 50, certainly when I travel.
What is the effect at low doses?
You fall asleep quickly, very fast.
It,
Also, this is interesting. It increases deep sleep and REM sleep.
oh,
So
interesting.
when I do use it, my deep sleep time increases, I'd say a good 10% more.
The thing with meclizine is it can make you slightly tired when waking up the next day. It also prolongs your sleep, so that could be a good thing if you wanted that. If
Nice.
you want to get around that, let's say you take it a few hours before you go to sleep, and then you start getting drowsy, and then you can go to sleep earlier. Yeah.
Trazodone, you need to take it when you're in bed because it has a rapid onset. Now,
'Cause-
interestingly enough, it just reminded me of something. Apidolon, the peptide,
yeah,
which
I've
has
tried
a
it.
conversion. Yeah, there's a new version, acetylated apidolon amidate. So that gives you a really nice feeling as it's doing its job, but you also get terrific sleep improvement with it, curiously enough.
Interesting.
And I could be mistaken, but I don't think so. I think there's some of it that also converts over into serotonin. And I think I'm right.
Okay.
Right. So
Interesting.
there I would
You
agree with
take
you. So
that every night?
I may use that about twice a week. I don't want it to go flat. And plus, since I'm using it also for life extension purposes, right?
Okay.
So I don't want to lose any of that.
Does it grow your pituitary gland or telomeres? What was the thing there? What is the
Oh, it grows your telomeres,
Oh, it's just the
right? So
telomeres.
side of chromosome, It's surmised. That's the theory behind it. That is what it does. I want to talk with you next time too about some of the gadgets, everything from V-Light to I just
I've
got
got that.
the new Sensei.ai. It's complicated as shit. I'm trying to work my way through how it, but
Okay.
I think that would be a good point of departure also.
Awesome. Yeah,
All right.
we can
All right.
discuss that too. Always pleasure speaking to you.
Same here, man. Big hug and a
We'll
lot
be
of
in
love.
touch. Yeah.
Deal.
Thanks.
I'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
67% of listeners aren't subscribed to the show, so please don't forget to show your support by hitting the subscribe button now. You'll not only be supporting the show, but also investing in yourself and your health journey, all while helping to keep us ad-free.